Welcome to the Art of Healing podcast, the podcast that is dedicated to helping you connect with your mind, body, and spirit. This is Charlize, physician and Reiki master, and thank you so much for joining me. I would like to remind you that although I'm a physician, the information you receive in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. You can find my full disclaimer at my website, www.healingartshealthandwellness.com. If you like what you hear on this podcast, sign up for my weekly newsletter. Check your show notes for more information and for the link to sign up. Thank you. Hello and welcome back to the Art of Healing podcast. Welcome to the summer of 2023 and the 5th season of the Art of Healing podcast. So as we're getting started, I always like to share my gratitude with you for being along with me on this journey and just a personal, hey, the light in me sees the light in you, a little namaste. So, as always, I like to start every season with a reintroduction to myself. So, this is the 5th season of the Art of Healing podcast. And if you are listening on your favorite podcast app player, hopefully you'll see that, it's seasons that go back quite a few years. And we follow a little bit of a tradition. So, I'll explain that. And then let me just reintroduce myself to get started. My name is Charlize, and I am the host of the Art of Healing podcast. I am also the owner of the website healingartshealthandwellness.com, and I'm also the owner of my new website, drcharlize.com. So I am a physician. I've been practicing approaching about 20 years now. I live in the United States. And my story is that many years ago, I was like a lot of physicians, not very open-minded, thought I understood how everything worked in the world, seeing adult patients, thinking that, I just had it all figured out in my early 30s, and the world came crashing down around me, and I experienced what was going to be my first dark night of the soul, which you may have heard that term, which was my reality shifted. What I thought was true wasn't. Long story short, I had to open my eyes and see there was a world beyond the world that I saw, which led me down the path of deepening my studies to yoga and studying Reiki, at which point Reiki has become an integral part of my life. It's a practice that I do every day, sometimes multiple times a day. It's a practice that I share with others. It's a practice that I've integrated into my medical practice. And it's also one of our favorite topics on the Art of Healing podcast, as well as in healingartshealthandwellness.com. So I am also a Reiki practitioner, and I lean on that tool for just about as many things as I could think of. So now that we've talked some about me, let's talk about you. Nope, just kidding. We can't because you're just listening. But later on in the podcast, we'll talk about how we could talk about you, how we could actually interact. But until then, I did want to give some updates. So if you are new to the podcast, the way that we like to do this as a community is that we will do so many episodes kind of for every season, and then we take a break around major season changes. So we just finished up with our summer break, and we're getting started back with the summer. When the podcast is going live, we'll have a podcast episode every week. And when I figure out the logistics or how to do that, or once I have the team, we might even do some live sessions where we can all interact together. But we do meet once a week, and new episodes come out every Monday. If you are part of my newsletter community, we communicate by email where I send out updates, services, things that are going on, nice things that I like to share from my community, from others I work with. That comes out every single Friday. So in your show notes, if you are wanting to stay in touch after you've listened or you've listened to some old episodes, I'll put a link there where you can sign up for my newsletter. So I do want to update all of you on what's been going on during the spring break. So during this last spring break, I wanted to focus on doing some writing. I've been working on a couple of projects. One is my book, The Heart of Being, and the other is my book for new Reiki practitioners. And I was so honored and so grateful that I was able to be featured in Reiki News. I submitted an article there. And in this article, which is called How Reiki Made Me a Better Physician, I was able to share my lived experience of being a physician who has learned Reiki. And I was able to share what this looks like in real time, what it's been like to practice Reiki along with seeing patients, and how the two can come together very nicely. So if you would like to read a copy of the article, I'll put in my show notes a way that you can download a PDF to read it. It was really a wonderful time of reflection for me because I've had both Reiki and medicine as healing tools for the past 8 years now, somewhere around the past 8 years. So it was so nice to be able to describe to others something that's become everyday to me, because it really has become something I don't think about. The fact that I have an energy medicine tool that I use on myself that I can lean on with my patients, and the fact that it takes a burden off of me as far as dealing with the human story. A lot of being a doctor is dealing with human stories of pain and of suffering. And prior to learning Reiki, I would feel like a lot of physicians would sometimes shut down, or you don't want to interact that deeply, or you feel an avoidance. That definitely shifted for me. And over the years of integrating the two, I've become much more comfortable with the parts of the medicine that medical school doesn't train you for, how to deal with emotional shakeups, how to deal with giving bad news, how to talk to people about what's beyond, how to talk to dying patients. So it's been just really nice to be able to share that in this article. So I'll put a copy here. I was so happy I got to interact with William Rand, who's one of the fathers of Reiki in the United States. It was just lovely to have this experience. So I have some announcements. So the first announcement is the website healingartshealthandwellness.com, which is the main place to find my articles. It is the place that I put my courses. So there are courses there. Anyone that wants to be certified in Reiki 1 and Reiki 2. Anyone that wants to start meditation. And I am constantly working on creating some new courses. I also have some audio downloads. I have sessions that are created for Reiki practitioners to help them in their Reiki practice. I provide guidance in the music that can be used in a daily practice. I borrowed it from my own Reiki practice that I do on myself. And there'll be more to come. Definitely more courses to come, because there's so many things that I want to cover. And I have discovered, along with you in the community, us, that with the way my life runs and your lives run, that this is often the best place is that I can create things to share with you there. And then my new website, which is drcharlise.com, will be the place to connect with me. So what that means is healingartshealthandwellness.com is where I will have my articles, my podcasts, all of this stuff that we are used to connecting with. But if the time has come and you're ready to work with me, you'll find me at drcharlise.com. drcharlise.com is a space you will find if you are ready to take the next step and you are ready to get to the root cause of whatever's holding you back, not feeling the way you want to feel, tired of taking all your prescriptions, tired of just being tired, drcharlies.com is going to be the home of my functional medicine practice. There are some logistics, so I am actually creating space for anyone that wants to be my patient. And it is not restricted just to my geography. I am able to accept patients in certain states. That will be Nevada, Colorado, Washington, Texas, and Ohio, as well as Oklahoma and California. And I am working on accepting more patients in more states. So what does that mean? That means that you'll actually be able to sign up to work with me in one of my programs, one-on-one. You'll have my personal guidance. You'll have me. And as a part of my functional medicine programs, you'll have the most advanced testing in functional medicine where we can do some really good detective work, including really good detective work on food allergies. I just recently completed my own. Thank goodness I did. Oh my goodness. Giving up wheat is one of the best things I've done in years. I got to tell you, we're going to talk about that later. But giving up wheat was really a game changer for me. We'll be able to do things like doing your hormone testing in a really detailed manner. Again, I just did my own adrenal gland testing and just had to have a moment of self-compassion for myself. Oh my goodness. When I saw what my poor adrenal glands were trying to do in the afternoon, and it corresponded to how I'd feel in the afternoons, really was eye-opening to learn my own adrenal fatigue, and I'm working on healing that now. So when you're ready, drcharlies.com is where you can begin to work with me as your integrative physician, your personal physician in one of my programs. And I'll put more details about that in the show notes. So I had mentioned that I was working on healing my own adrenal fatigue and working with my own food allergies, which meant I had to say goodbye to wheat, goodbye to corn, goodbye to potatoes. And at first I thought it was just going to crush me and I was going to miss them so bad. And did I discover I didn't need them anymore. Working on my own digestive health and my energy, especially my adrenal function, I am able to share with you some of the very special tools that I've been using. And I've mentioned these before, but I just want to emphasize as we're getting reintroduced to each other. I have partnered with a few different companies. So even if you aren't working with me at drcharlies.com, as we journey along the way, you'll see in my weekly newsletters that I will remind you of some of the products and tools that I highly recommend. The first of those is my favorite dispensary, my online dispensary, which is Fullscripts.com. At Fullscripts, which you'll see the link in the show notes, you'll be able to sign up and create your account, and that's totally free. When you sign up under my link, you will have access to my protocols. So even if we can't work together and you're wanting to work with me, but if it's logistics or, location or anything like that, I do make my protocols public. So you can see my favorite recommendations for things like stress and anxiety. I have protocols for getting ready for a surgery. I have protocols for fibroids. A lot of women are trying to heal their fibroids. And I went through healing my own fibroids. So as I did my own self-discovery and my own workup and found what supplements really helped to heal fibroids by doing a 90-day program of this. So you can sign up through Fullscripts. If you check the show notes, you'll see my link where you can start to look there. And even if you don't have access to get individual recommendations from me, you can see my protocols. I believe you can see other practitioners' protocols, and you can shop and enjoy a significant savings on your supplements. When you sign up with me, you'll get a discount every time you shop because I've asked Fullscripts to offer my clients, my customers, a discount. And then a few times a year, those discounts get fantastic. and I'll let you know when those come because you definitely want to stock up. I stocked up like crazy during the spring sale. I got my favorite vitamin D supplement from FX Chocolate. It tastes great. It keeps my vitamin D levels right where I want them. So whenever those sales are coming, I'll let you know. And that way you can stock up and really save yourself some money. My newest partnership is with the company Vibrant Blue Oils. So this is a company that provides high quality aromatherapy and something that I had discovered. I had taken an online summit a few years ago. So I discovered this brand, then I'd been reading about it and watching it and reading it. And one of the things that just came right together perfectly was after I completed my own Dutch test, and I'll create some articles and things about what the Dutch test is, but I created my own because I wanted to know what was going on with how I was feeling, my energy levels. I'd been through some things personally where I needed to find out how much of an impact did it have on me. And so I discovered that my adrenal glands were really taking a hit and were not functioning very well in the afternoons, which corresponded to my lived experience of exhaustion in the afternoons, which, in a perfect world, I would be able to stop, maybe take a nap and rest. I do build that into my day, but I'm seeing patients. Those people need to be seen and they need their care. So I decided to add Vibrant Blue Oils to my own routine. And I purchased several of their blends, and they've just become part of my everyday life. And they've really helped me, particularly the adrenal blend. That was one that caught my attention right away when I discovered that I was having some adrenal exhaustion. This blend was designed to help with that. The owner and the creator really emphasizes safe production and safe use of these oils. And I became an instant fan. So you'll see my link in the show notes that if you want to learn about Vibrant Blue Oils or add those to your regimen, I'll put in my show notes how to find out more about Vibrant Blue Oils. I strongly recommend that adrenal blend. It's one of my favorites when I'm about to exercise. And then I add it for the afternoon when I know that I'm prone to feeling fatigue. Another blend, the parasympathetic blend, has been one of my favorites because I needed to heal my own digestion and doing my own Dutch test and my stool test and a number of things. And as the show goes on this season, we'll dig all into, what it's like to do your stool testing and collecting your own poop. It takes, you got to get your mind around that, but it's worth it. But, I discovered that probably my autonomic nervous system, which we've talked about in previous shows, was really working in a manner that was in a very stressed, definitely more of a dominant sympathetic mode. And from some of the experiences I've had in the past year, it would be expected. So I added the parasympathetic blend, and the way I've been using it is just as the instructions list is. I like to apply it before meals, and I like to try to follow the route of my vagus nerve. And it's really interesting. Once I started using that oil, it did a few things for me. The first was using the parasympathetic blend required me to have a moment of mindfulness before I ate. It's a big deal for me because as a physician and a person that likes to be productive, it is very easy for me to get into the habit of eating on the go, eating rapidly, go, go, go. So when I remember that, I wanted to stimulate my parasympathetic nervous system. I want to stimulate rest and digest. So I'm going to use my oil. It immediately brings my mind to, time to slow down and getting ready to eat. So sit down and take a breath. When I started using the parasympathetic oil, and I'd apply it, behind my ears and down my neck, and then I would try to get it down my back and around my belly to mimic the course of the vagus nerve. I noticed that up to that point, I didn't actually salivate before meals. I started to notice a production of saliva before I ate. And I thought, oh my gosh, I have not noticed that in years, that I would actually feel a good hunger sensation and then I would actually salivate. And then I noticed that the meal itself would actually taste better. So that's just my personal experience, but I will put in the show notes because Vibrant Blue Oils has several different types of blends that could definitely benefit you. And if we work together, I would definitely include those in working with me. Using this aromatherapy can be a real key for healing. So it is very nice to get reacquainted with you for season 5 of the Art of Healing podcast. In your show notes, you will see all of the links that we talked about during this podcast. So you'll see the links to my main website. You'll see the links for the website if you are interested in working with me and for scheduling a consultation for free where we can interact and you can decide if you're ready. You will see the links for Fullscripts if you want to make sure that you've got the most up-to-date protocols and you want to make sure your supplements are high grade and you're ready to stay up to date with me, or you're wanting to work with me, but we're not able to at this point, but you still like my protocols. And you'll see my link for Vibrant Blue Oils. So the aromatherapy you can be starting. And the aromatherapy is great to have because one of the things that we do every month on the Art of Healing podcast is we do perform a meditation together. So that's usually at the end of every month. And so we'll do that for the month of July and the month of August. So it might be nice to have your selected oil to use before you do your meditation. And then healingartshealthandwellness.com, where you can start your Reiki journey, where you can start your meditation challenge, the 21-day meditation challenge, and where we can really just make sure to stay in touch. So we will be back next week and the week after because we've got some great guests coming. And as always, so much gratitude for you being a listener. Whatever podcast platform you're listening, if you will leave me a review, you can also send me an email if you have questions. Definitely leave a review. That's wonderful. And if you feel so moved, share this episode with your friends and family because we love to connect at this community. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the Art of Healing podcast. Once again, this is Charlize. You can find out more about me at www.healingartshealthandwellness.com. Did you know I have a blog as well as online courses? Check your show notes to sign up for more information about Healing Arts Health and Wellness. Thank you. Please feel free to share this episode with your friends, family, and loved ones.